Welcome to the Hard Truth Podcast. This is Jeremy Fouts, and today we are going to be talking about the power of visualization. And I will tell you, in my whole time growing up, I heard the importance of goal setting, know where you're going, all these different things. And I really didn't put it to work until I was in my mid 30s. And so today, I talk a lot about mindset, having a strong mind. Just got through doing an episode talking about the reason it's so important to be healthy from a man's perspective and a woman's perspective. But I'm going to try to take my time today to share with you the power of visualization because truly, guys, there's a lot of things that came together in my mid 30s, but I can really say the visualization process, what I really put in my mind and really put my focus on the finish line, it set my family up. So I hope that if you are not in a good spot today, you'll focus on where you want to be visually. Just understand that image in your mind of where you want to be. And I'm telling you, it's a very powerful process that can help you accomplish so much greatness in your life if you'll put it to practice. So let's explain why visualization is a powerful tool. Now, this is used by athletes, entrepreneurs, top performers all over the world. So I'm going to share with you the how to get into a deep visualization process. But before I do, I know I've shared this story a few times, but I'll go ahead and give you the cliff notes again. When my life really changed, I was about 32-year old. I had a construction company. The economy crashed, and I was presented an opportunity to start with sales with a direct sales company in a nutrition business. And I'll tell you, I was so disgusted of my life always having peaks and valleys financially. And this was the ticket, and I knew it was the ticket. I knew I had the leadership ability. I knew I had the work ethic. I knew I had the knowledge on nutrition because I've been with one other company before. And I literally let my wife know that I promise you within 4 years, we'll set our family up for life. And my visual goal that I had, what I really seen in my life is I said, I'm going to be a debt-free stay-at-home dad, coach my kids baseball, take magical vacations. I said that probably a million times, but I visually seen that happening for my family. And at the time, I had a 1.5-year-old son, another son on the way. But I could literally see them walking downstairs, ordering breakfast, me cooking them breakfast. I put all this in my mind, and this what kept me going. And we're going to talk about that through this process. So if you don't know where you are going, I promise you, you're probably not getting up excited in the morning. You're probably not working out real hard. You're probably not, journaling. You're not working on personal development. You're just kind of going through life. The reason why is because you have no clue where you are going. So we're going to talk about the importance of visualization.
Let's go! What up?
During this podcast and why it's so powerful. So what is visualization? It's the difference between passive daydreaming and intentional visualization. See, the brain don't distinguish between real and vividly imaged experiences. So it has no way of being able to distinguish that. So let's talk about the science behind visualization. Okay, we're going to talk about first and foremost and the little bit of the science, and we're going to get into the neurological benefits from this. The visualization strengthens your neural pathways. Okay, so I'm going to go through what those are and how that makes sense. So visualization strengthens those neural pathways through a process known as neuroplasticity, where the brain adapts and reorganizes itself by forming new connections based on experiences and practices. So here's how it works. We're going to talk about mental imagery first and foremost. This is when you visualize a specific action or event and your brain stimulates that experience. This can activate the small neural circuits as physically performing the action, and it enhances the brain activity related to that skill. So that's the mental imagery. You guys know I'm a big baseball player. I love baseball, love all athletics. And I can tell you that if a guy is on deck and he's about to go in the batter's box and his mental imagery is hitting a double over second baseman, it's his odds are going to be tons better than his mental imagery thinking, what am I going to look like when he throws me a curveball with 2 strikes and I strike out? So understand that mental imagery is so powerful. That mental imagery of me telling you, I visually saw my kids coming down from a 2-story home and me at the kitchen, me at the island, them coming up to the island and saying, Dad, I want fried eggs over easy. Dad, I want bacon. Dad, I want sausage. I had that mental imagery. And if you don't have that, maybe it's your physical fitness. You're like, hey, man, I don't really know what I'm trying to achieve. Find a guy, find a gal that you are looking to build a body figure similar to that and put that picture by your mirror. But you have to understand the power of mental imagery. Next is the repetition. Visualizing an action repeatedly leads to reinforcement of the neural pathways associated with that action. So the more you visualize it, the stronger those connections become. Now, the reason that this is important is you're going to have times in your life where you're not going to be as motivated. But if you're chasing something that's very powerful, I know good listener Chris Garrett, he's mentoring agents, but he's got a bigger goal of what he's trying to accomplish, in the real estate industry in the state of Tennessee. He has to take his mentors or the agents that he's mentoring and help them with their mental imagery. And then when they're going through that repetition of doing those same things, the open houses, all those different things, he's working with them on that process and saying, hey, the neural pathways are associated with this action. And the more you visualize yourself buying your own home, be able to take your kids on vacation, the less hard it is to go do that open house and hand out 10 business cards and not get one phone call back, because you have to understand that's part of the process is the repetition. Next is the enhanced learning. Visualization can improve understanding and retention of the information. By mentally rehearsing these concepts over and over in these skills, your brain creates richer, more complex networks. I had people over and over, you've heard me say this, when I'm done with the speech, people would say, man, you did an awesome job, and yada, yada, try to make you feel good about yourself. And half of them had bad breath, and you didn't really want to talk to them, but that's okay. You did. You smiled. But I can tell you that majority of the time I'm sitting there thinking, I hope it's good because I did this 1,000 times. And so what reason that I was able to do that 1,000 times is, again, my visualization. And when I knew what it was that I was trying to accomplish of being that debt-free stay-at-home dad, when I knew that I was looking to set my family up financially for life, it opened up my brain. It was allowing me to be able to learn these things and keep on doing it and keep on doing it. The next is emotional engagement. This is where visualization often involves strong emotional components. And what this does, your emotions can enhance memory and learning, making the neural connections even more robust. So basically, you have to have that emotional connection with that mental imagery, with that visualization of what you're trying to accomplish. And when that happens, those emotions will enhance the memory and that learning process as well. Same way with the enhanced learning. So it's important for you guys to understand the emotional engagement that becomes behind that visualization. And then number 5, what it does is it helps with stress reduction. See, visualization can reduce anxiety and stress, and here's why. It allows for us to have a better focus and learning. So when we're able to focus more and learn, it further is facilitating the strengthening of those neural pathways. So when I'm going through a stressful moment, no matter what time in my life it has been, it's when I have not had a visual of what I was trying to accomplish. I wasn't locked in. I wasn't, as athletes call it, in a zone. I wasn't dialed in to go out and be my best today, for tomorrow, for the next day. So if you're telling me you're a little bit stressed, you're worried about the bills, you're worried about your weight, you're worried about this, and you're worried about that, I can tell you we have no visualization of what it is that we're trying to accomplish in our next 90 days, 6 months, and 2 years. Now, the connection between visualization and muscle memory, let's talk about this. This is why it's so important. All of you have got 2 stories I want to share with you. You can call them case studies, you can call them stories, but if you're sitting here saying, man, this seems a little hokey pokey, I'm not one of those weird guys to sit in bed and put up a vision board and sit here and think, oh man, what is on my vision board? And I don't know. Trust me, this stuff works, what I'm talking about. Now, to show proof of that, there's 2 stories I want to share with you. Number 1 was Michael Phelps. All of you have heard of Michael Phelps, Olympic swimmer. The power of visualization. He had a coach named Bob Bowman. Bob trained not only Michael Phelps in the pool, but outside the pool for mental preparation. Okay, so Phelps would literally, guys, sit at the edge of the pool and visualize every aspect of his races in extreme, every little bit of detail, including the feel of the water, the number of strokes he needed to take, the exact moment he would make his turns, how he would recover if something went wrong, like his goggles came off or something like that. So over and over, did he not just do the physical, or he didn't just do the physical training, he did the mental training. Now, here's what happened in 2008 in Beijing in the Olympics. This practice paid off. During the 200-meter butterfly final, his goggles filled with water and blinding him completely. But because he had practiced this mental imagery of what he needed to do and rehearsed it so many times, then when the goggles become blinding to him where he couldn't see, he went ahead and swam the whole race perfectly. He knew exactly how many strokes it would take to reach the wall. He won the gold medal and breaking a world record despite of not being able to see what it was he was doing. So you got to understand, like, when I'm going through struggles in my life, then if I've practiced visualization and said, I told my wife I'm going to do this for her and the boys. I told my husband we're going to be here in business. We're going to be here in relationships. This is what we're working towards. This is our plan. We're not moving away from this. I've got a mental image of what it is that I'm going to look like when I'm done at this gym process, and I'm going to keep working on it. It's a never-ending process, but I know that if I'm continuing to work towards this, then this is going to be where I end up, because whatever I see and believe, I'm going to achieve. Now, here's one more story. The Russian Olympic team had worked on a mental study. So basically, this is in the 1980s. The athletes were divided into 4 different groups. The first group, all they did was 100% physical training. Okay. The second group did 75% physical training, 25% mental training. The third group did 50% physical training and 50% mental training. The fourth group did 25% physical training and 75% mental training. Now, it may become a surprise to you, but it's not to me. The group that spent the most time on mental training, 75% mental, 25% physical, outperformed all other athletes when tested in competition. This study, guys, it helps solidify the mental rehearsal as a key part of elite athletic training. So today you're sitting here thinking, man, is there something to this? Trust me. I have the opportunity to visit with a lot of young men, a lot of young women, a lot of middle-aged men, a lot of middle-aged women, and they're just floating through life, and they don't understand why they're not happy. They don't understand why they can't make more money, why they don't have better relationships, why they can't take better vacations. And I ask them, what's your visualization? What are you working towards? See, here's the way it works. The visualization, guys, there's steps to practice this daily. Number one, you have to get a clear goal in your mind of what it is that you want to accomplish and define what that success looks like. Number two, you have to engage all your senses: seeing, hear, and feel the moment. Number three, you have to practice it consistently. Repetition builds confidence. Number four, you have to combine with action. Visualization alone isn't enough. You must execute it. And in the examples of pregame rituals from athletes, they're everywhere. So once you understand that we're going to get a clear goal, we're going to engage in all of our senses. We have to practice consistently. We have to combine with action. Put you some pregame rituals together. I've got to go do a presentation tomorrow at 2. I'm going to make sure that I've read this material over and over. I'm going to make sure that I have it memorized. I'm going to visually see myself presenting that presentation. I'm going to think to myself, what happens if the audio goes down? What happens if the PowerPoint, the computer goes down? Whatever the situation is, I'm going to own this presentation. Here's some mistakes and how to overcome them that a lot of people don't understand. And this is something that's very important. Is visualization without emotion or belief is not going to work. See, you can't just visualize, oh, I'm going to be here in life 2 years from now, but you have no emotion or belief. I mean, when I talked about what it is I was going to do for my family in my 30s, anybody that knows me personally knows that I would get teared up like crazy. Not teared up like I was a baby wanting to cry. I'm talking about I had emotion running through my body. I would literally fight for my wife and my 2 boys, and I would do anything to get to that finish line, what I promised myself and my family I would do. You have to have that emotion and believe you can. Also, focusing too much on the how instead of the end result is a common mistake. See, when you're going through this process, if you're only focusing on the how am I going to get to this situation? How am I going to get to here? How am I going to get to here? Then I'm going to tell you it's not going to work. But when I look and I say, I'm going to be here 2 years from now, I take the hows and I walk over them, around them, through them, pick them up and throw them. I don't care. And I'm going to probably do it wrong, but that's okay because I will be able to pick up that rock and do it the right way next time, but I'm focused on the finish line. And I know that if I keep on going and this is my vision of where I'm headed, then I'm going to accomplish it. The next is letting doubt or fear interfere with the process. You can't let that happen. The doubt and fear will literally cripple you and keep you from living a life of excellence. Instead, you'll live a life of average or below. So the hard truth takeaway here, the real difference between those who succeed and those who don't is their ability to see victory before it happens. I don't know where you are in life. You might just work for a company. You might be trying to start your own company. You might be a real estate agent like Chris. You might be insurance agent like a friend of mine, Jay Webb. I don't know what it is you're trying to accomplish, but I'm going to tell you the real difference between those who succeed and those who don't is the ability to see victory before it happens. Next is you have to encourage the people that you have around in your life to be able to understand the importance of visualization as well. So guys, I encourage you, after this podcast, if you're not driving, close your eyes for 60 seconds and visualize a big goal and what it would feel like when it's achieved. And I want you to write that goal down, and I want you to go after what it is that you want. I mean, I talk about mindset all the time. I talk about all these different things, and it's very important. But if you don't know what it is that you want to accomplish and you can't visually see that, you're probably not going to get the work in. You're probably not going to do the extra reps. You're probably not going to want to get up in the morning with full of energy. So The power of visualization, does it work? I'm proof. And you look at any of the major athletes in the NFL, the major leagues, you look at any of the top CEOs, Elon Musk, any of these guys, they understand the power of visualization. And I hope that you use this process to accomplish your goals. Thank you guys for joining the Hard Truth Podcast. Share this with your friends and family. And I promise you, if you'll leave a review, that means a lot to me because we're building this program, getting a lot of action right now on the podcast, and I'm here to serve others. That's the reason for the Hard Truth Podcast. Thank you guys. Good day.